Hi everyone, this is Mrs. Larkins. This is a short help video for questions 1 through 4 on your weekly review number 4. Alright, question number 1 is an order of operations question, so we need to be using PEMDAS. Remember, multiplication and division are on the same level, so whichever one happens from left to right, do first, and then addition and subtraction are also on the same level, so whatever happens left to right, do those first. Alright, we have parentheses. So inside of the parentheses, we have these exponents. So we actually have to start on the exponents first before we can solve what's inside of the parentheses. So 4 times 4 is 16. That negative was not in parentheses, so it comes down next to it. And let's keep the parentheses on there and drop everything else down in our equation. Alright, 21 minus 16 is 5. Again, bring down that times 2 on the right and the 15 minus on the left. Our last step would be to do 15 minus 5, or should we do 5 times 2? So multiplication happens before addition and subtraction, so we need to do this 5 times 2 first, which is 10. Drop down the minus and the 15. Our last step is subtraction, so 15 minus 10 is a positive 5. Alright, question 2 is a fraction question. It says write the fraction as a decimal. You need to remember that this fraction bar is really a division sign. And the way we say this would be 5 is being divided by 8. When you set up your division bar, the 5 is inside. 5 is being divided by 8. The divisor is on the outside. Because 5 is smaller than 8, you have to annex and add zeros. I know I'm going to need 3 zeros. Most 8s will have 3 zeros unless it's an even number. Alright, so let's put a decimal in our answer, in our quotient. 8 goes into 5. Let's put a placeholder right there. 8 goes into 50 6 times. 6 times 8 is 48. 50 minus 48 is a 2. Drop down your 0. 8 goes into 20 twice. That's 16. 20 minus 16 is 4. And then our last step would be to drop down that 0. 80 goes into 45 times, and there's no remainder. So our answer for 5/8, it equals 625 thousandths is the word form, or you could say decimal or 0.625. I believe Canvas will take decimal 625, and I know for sure it will take 0.625. Okay, question 3 is writing the fraction as a decimal. This is a mixed fraction or a mixed number. There's several ways to do this. You probably learned in 6th and 5th grade to do times plus, go around, and do 30 plus 2 is 32 over 5, or 32 divided by 5. So 5 goes into 32. Does not go in exactly, so I'm going to add my decimal and a 0. 30, let's see, 5 goes into 32 6 times. That's your 6 wholes here. Subtract, we get a 20, drop down our 0, and 5 goes into 20 exactly 4 times. Don't forget to put that decimal in your answer there. So that's one way to solve it. There's many other ways. A lot of kids can just see that you have 6 wholes, and then you just do 5 goes into 2, and that's your 0.4. So they take this 0.4 and just put it into the answer. Either way is about the same amount of difficulty. All right, question 4. We have to find the least common multiple of the given numbers. Multiples are the multiples of that number, meaning you take the number and start multiplying it by different numbers. For instance, to find the lowest number that both 8 and 10 can multiply, it's not just 80. So don't go, oh, I know it's a multiple of 80. Yes, that's the multiple that's common, but that's not the lowest one. I have always taught my kids to take the highest number and start multiplying in your head. 10, 20, 30, 40. And as soon as you see one that an 8 can multiply to get to, that's the one. I know that 8 times 5 is 40. You don't have to go through all of the 8s if you just know that an 8 can only turn into a 0 at the end if it was multiplied by 5 or by 10. So the least common multiple is 40 on number or letter A. Now, letter B, I'm actually using the same numbers that are on your weekly review because they're a little difficult. So start with the largest one. It has an 8 in the ones. Again, we just did 8. The only way an 8 can multiply to get to a 0 or a 5, I don't even think it can turn into a 5. So it's going to be multiplied either by 10 or by 5. So let's go off to the side and let's try 18 times 5. That's 0, 4, 90. So 18 can turn into 90. We need to think of our 15s and figure out how many times that would go in. I know 15 can turn into a 90 because of anytime you multiply like by 2, you're going to go up by 30. So it's 15 times 2 is 30, times 3 is 45, times 4 is 60, times 5 is 75, and times 6 is 90. So the smallest number that 15 and 18 can both multiply and equal is 90. All right, hope that helped.